29th, 2018, and it is 5:11 p.m. This is the El Paso Central Appraisal District Board of Directors regular meeting. And I'll call roll. Let's see. Sam?
Here. Present.
Ronnie Lowenfield's out of town. Michael Nahara has got a family matter. Gary Gondro won't be with us this evening. Al Velarde, I believe, is on his way. Chuck Taylor.
Here.
Got one. Vince Pettis.
Here.
Good evening. And I'm Laurie Searles. I'm here too. And Mike Rosales, the best one of all. Thank you very much. So if we may, let's stand and pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you very much. Our first agenda item, we have got 20 years of service, which is really an amazing thing. Is Maria here? Maria and Chando, come on down.
We call her Mari. Her supervisor right now is Tony Delgado. And of course, she brought her husband. Thank you very much for coming.
Good evening.
Maria started with our data processing when we had data processing. And when we started changing everything around, we wanted to move her into another department. She was very hesitant because she didn't think she could do it. She is one of our top employees. She has been with the Appraisal Review Board department for how many years now? 8 years in that department. She's one of our 2 leads in that department and has done just an awesome job. And we are so proud and so happy that she has stayed with us. And 20 years, you know, so that means she's got another, what, 30?
Yeah.
But thank you. And I think the board has something to give you.
Absolutely. Please, would y'all like to stand up and we'll present her with this and get some pictures?
You want to take off the plastic picture?
I don't know. Do you want it all? Because it could scratch. Yeah.
Congratulations.
More?
A little bit more, a little past the flag.
Cheese.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, board members. This is a program that you've allowed us to start a couple of years ago, and it's really meant a lot to the staff to be recognized and for the board members to see some of our staff, other than us wonderful faces you see every month.
And that would take us to our next agenda item, public comment. Is there any?
Madam Chairman, we have no public comment.
Okay, so we'll move right on to number 3, the approval and signing of the minutes from September the 20th, 2018. Are there any questions, objections, anything to the minutes? Would someone like to move
So moved. We
in a
approve.
second?
Second.
Motion made by Mike Rosales, seconded by Vince Pettis to approve the minutes of the September 20th, 2018 meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have the review, number 4, review and approval of the financial reports for August of 2018. Are there any questions? Good evening, Ms. Goldman.
Good evening. Rosa Goldman, Chief Financial Officer. And we are presenting the financial report for the month of August 2018. The report contains the balance sheet, report of revenues, expenditures, and changes in cash balance, investment report, and the notes to the financial report. If I just go to the note to the financial report, we have the account supplemental help our budget for $4,208 for the month due to additional temporary help. And then we have under the encumbered funds for litigation, in August we used $57,140, and that gave us a balance of $271,601 out of the $400,000 that we had been encumbered from last fiscal year.
Any comments?
Any questions?
Does this need a motion to approve?
If hearing none, motion to approve.
I'll move to accept.
A second? Yes, thank you. Motion made to approve by Vince Pettis, seconded by Sam Trimble. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. And we'll go to our monthly health benefit and dental insurance plan, which is just a report.
Right, and as of August, there were deposits for $87,194. Claims paid $107,158, and the balance of $395,506. Are there any questions?
No questions? No? Comments? Hearing none? Thank you very much.
The only comment I
okay.
have, when we look at October of last year,
Yes,
we're
sir.
down to 300, from right under 600,000 to the 395. Is this a cycle type, or because we've dropped that amount, or do we have to make the adjustments?
Well, it could be that we just have more claims
Yeah,
in this
it's
particular
in the
fiscal
40
year.
type.
Right, and it could be what the balance was in September of 2017. Because if you look, the amount for October was $87,000. It was deposited. We deposited the same amount.
Mhm.
Our claims were close, $119,107, but we had a higher balance
Right.
that came out of. So, and of course, that was at the beginning of our health year. October is our fiscal year, and that's where our health. So that could be also contributed to that difference.
But yeah, I mean, this month compared to last year's, this month is lower. The balance is lower than it was last year's.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And I'd like to note it's 5:19, and Mr. Alvelarde has joined us. Good evening, Mr. Velarde.
Apologize for being late.
No problem. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That would take us to number 6. Discussion and possible action regarding the designation of a voting delegate and alternate to attend the 2019 Texas Association of Appraisal Districts, TAD, conference.
Madam Chairman, we
Yes, ma'am.
normally, in the years that the board members are reappointed or new inputs on, we do this in January, but this is not one of those years.
Mhm.
So we're hoping that you guys can come up with a delegate and an alternate so we can go ahead and make the reservations
Sure.
early, since we know that unless something happens, y'all will be on the board. It's not a year to replace the board members. So that's why we went ahead and put it on the agenda now. You've received a copy of the conference. It will be finalized this month, but you can see what is being offered at the conference. And so we would like a delegate and then an alternate in case something happens, the delegate can't go. Of course, staff will be there. We have staff that are on committees and are doing presentations, so we will have staff there.
Is there anybody who would particularly like to go? You can see the dates that are available to school board members. It's also during winter governance training, if that means anything.
I don't mind going.
Looking at my February.
Sam?
I mean,
It's nice when the new members can
Yeah,
go. 'cause
I'm
they get a-
thinking,
I'm available at that time, so.
do you want to be, You're new, it could bring you up to speed. It's a really good conference. Mike, have you been?
No, never have.
Do you want to do it? Want to be the alternate in case he can't go?
Okay, over to you first. No, go ahead. You go, and then if you can, I'll go. Nice trade-off.
Okay. So is everybody okay with that?
Yeah,
You okay with them?
yeah, because I can't see that far ahead for other conflicts.
We've got school board members have winter governance at that same time. So you may be going to that. I don't know, though.
All right.
Al?
Well, I know there's a couple of things going on legislatively that, but I don't have it on here. I would need to look at the home computer. See if it tied in at around, but if we weren't covering each other at the
Okay.
same time, it would be fine. But
Well-
if we got two that are willing,
Okay.
I don't need to look.
Well, you got Vince and
So could
who's going? Vince and Sam?
Sam's going to go, and if Sam can't go, then Mike will go. And if Mike can't go, Vince said he'd go. So, and if Vince can't go, I'm pretty sure Al's going.
Flipping coin.
It's just you and I that are kind of the
Short stick.
Real simple here.
I think we're good.
We're covered. Okay, so could I have a motion and a second, please, for our designation? No, I'll do it.
I move that Sam be the delegate and Mike be
Thank you.
the backup.
A second.
Thank you very much. Al Velarde made the motion for our delegate and our alternate, and Chuck Taylor seconded that. And it will be Sam Trimble and Mike Rosales. Thank you very much. Taking one for the team there. And that would take us to our discussion and possible action regarding, number 7, the December 2018 Board of Directors meeting.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
normally in December, because there's so much going on with school districts, with what they're having to do, we don't have a quorum. So we have just historically canceled that meeting and had our November meeting, and then we skip December, and then we go in January. We're recommending, again, to cancel that meeting. It's just so hard to get everybody here. But moving up the January meeting from the 3rd Thursday to the 2nd Thursday, which would be January 10th. That way it's not so far in between.
Okay.
In February, we will be bringing in Robert Mott, our attorney, to do a training of the Board of Directors in February. And in February, we'll be doing the audit. This gives us more time for the auditors to finish the audit and get copies to you in advance so that you have time to look at it. One of the issues the last couple of years was we don't get the audit from the auditors until the day of the board meeting, even on the 3rd Thursday, and you haven't had a chance to look at it. So playing it out this way works into going into January and February. So our recommendation or our request would be to cancel the December and move the January meeting to the 10th.
Anybody like to discuss that, or everybody feel happy with that?
Okay.
Good with that. My only question I have, do we not set up a schedule of board meetings at the very beginning?
We
of the
do
year?
have a schedule, but because of issues that have come up the last couple of months, we've had to move this date because of some issues that came up. So we do have a schedule. It's the 3rd Thursday,
Right.
with July and December historically not having meetings, because July we certify, and this is set up as panel rooms, and then of course December not having them. So, but unfortunately, the last couple of months have just kind of thrown us off. So we'll get back on schedule.
And I just throw that out, because you could throw that into the schedule, just say that we don't have a meeting in July and December, and we don't have to worry about voting on it.
It is in the schedule. But we can do it. I mean, it's up to the board. We don't have to bring it to the board because it is in the schedule that we don't have meetings on that day.
Move to approve.
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Velarde.
Thank
We'll
you.
make sure that gets kind of highlighted.
So we've got a motion made by Mr. Al Velarde, seconded by Mr. Mike Rosales, to not have a meeting in December and to have the January meeting on the 10th of January. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next we have 8, our discussion and possible action regarding EPCAD's proposed holiday schedule.
Madam Chairman, this is the same number of days we've had the last several years. It's just been changed because the dates change, and so it's just been changed to meet the 2019 calendar year. It is one of the things when we first began the appraisal district that the board liked to approve, so it's up for approval.
Any discussion or thoughts on that? Someone like to move to approve?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Mr. Sam Tremble made a motion to approve the 2019 holiday schedule for EPCAD, and Mr. Vince Pettis has seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have number 9, the Wardlaw Appraisal Group LC 2019 update report. Good evening, Ms. Wardlaw.
Board members, I had asked Ms. Wardlaw to come in and give an update because they've already started the field work and visiting with the different property owners, and I felt like the board, before we get to the end of the year, would like an update as to what they've done.
So,
Thank you very much. I'll make this short. I'm Peggy Wardlaw. Thank you for awarding us the contract. And I just wanted to go briefly over what we've done so far this year. This morning, I conducted a Western refining inspection with Chip Toomey, who is the representative who does the taxes for, was for Tesoro and Andover, and is now doing that with the new company, which is Marathon. After that, Ms. Kilgore and I had a nice conversation with him over just kind of lay out generally about how we're going to approach the valuation and kind of setting a timeline. And we agreed to meet again in March when Ms. Kilgore comes to San Antonio, and Mr. Toomey's office is in San Antonio, so that we can go over a preliminary findings and so forth according to value. About Western Refining, Marathon closed the purchase of Andover, which was formerly Tesoro, which was formerly Western Refining, on October 1st. They have a September 1st inventory date on the inventory, which is a large part of their value. Mr. Toomey agreed to try to get us that information as soon as possible so that we can get that value set. The refinery valuation itself will require income and expense information, which will be filed in their year-end return for 2018. We did not find out that there is no major new equipment at the refinery. The North Side crude unit is down unexpectedly for 3 to 4 weeks, which has kind of made a problem with their production and with their production, when it wouldn't restart after scheduled maintenance, and they had a small problem, and so they're working on that. The Southside crude unit will have scheduled 5-year maintenance in the first quarter of 2019, and this is kind of important just from an appraisal standpoint. So when you look at the production numbers, that you realize that a lot of this is just scheduled maintenance, and it happens every 5 years. We had 2 appraisers down here on November 6th, 7th, and 8th. And they were able to schedule inspections and inspect over 50 of the different property owners in El Paso County. One of the big changes that I wanted to mention is the Boeing Company. The Boeing Company is shutting their operations down this year. We inspected it on November 8th. They expect to completely cease operations on December 14th. And right now they have fewer than 100 employees. By the 14th of December, they expect to be down to a skeleton crew who will be arranging the shipment and the transfer of the remaining equipment. There will be some equipment there on January 1st, but very little. So the value of Boeing is going to be relatively small for this year, although they will have some inventory value, but that inventory value is under Freeport, and so there's not going to be a value for those counties that offer the Freeport exemption. The space will be completely empty and turned over to the owner of the facility by June. And they expect about 10% of the M&E to still be in place on January 1st, and that will be taxable. The other thing of note is that they're building a new rehab hospital, Cobalt Rehab Hospital, here in El Paso. Construction started at the first part of 2018. They expect it to open in the first quarter of 2019. Originally, they said it would open in the summer of 2018, and then December of 2018. It's still not finished, and they're projecting February or so of 2019. That will have some value, more on the real estate side because the building's constructed, but also it will have value, and we will inspect that much closer to the first of the year so we can see what equipment is actually in that hospital as of the first of the year. It's a 42-bed, 57,000 square foot physical rehabilitation hospital, and it's towards traumatic brain injuries. They're going to have a special facility for patients with traumatic brain injuries, which is not something that is. It's a type of patient that they want to target that they feel like is not being fully served here in El Paso. We have a contact person set up for that facility, and we're trying to schedule the inspection, hopefully real close to the first of the year so we can know what equipment is in that facility on January 1st. That's my report. It's located across from the Providence Sierra Hospital on 1700 East Cliff Drive.
The old Pill Hill area.
Yeah,
It was
the
in the
Pill Hill.
paper here.
Yeah.
I believe it was newspaper The Ink just recently. And they were talking about what we used to call the Pill Hill area. It's in that
Yeah.
area.
Where the old Cliff Inn was.
Cliff Inn, yeah.
Mhm.
You know how they demolished all of that. And
Yeah, they have a 15-acre tract there. It's a Dallas-based company that's doing it that does a lot of rehab hospitals and nursing homes and stuff. And they own 15 acres, and they're talking about selling 5 acres across the street to a mental health facility, but that hasn't been
They're
started
building it
yet.
up from the ground?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, from scratch. From scratch.
I didn't even notice it's outside my window.
Open the blinds.
Right?
I know.
Any questions about anything? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That would take us to our next agenda item, number 10, discussion and possible action regarding the appointment of the Appraisal Review Board Chairperson and Secretary.
Madam Chairman, this is a function of your taxpayer liaison officer. The appraisal district is not involved at all in this, so we are turning it over to her to
Good evening.
visit.
Good evening, Board of Directors. In your blue folder, you'll find the applicants that were running for chairman and for secretary for the Appraisal Review Board. I did send it to your emails for y'all to review in advance. Inside, you'll find their application, the resume, their questionnaire sheet, recommendation letters from some of the ARB members. Well, what we have a Michael Briggs that's looking for reappointment as chairman of the Appraisal Review Board, and we have Fred Munoz looking to be secretary. They both have done a terrific job in the past, and they both work very well together. Mr. Briggs profusely apologizes for not being here today. He had a prior engagement, but we do have Fred Munoz here today if you all would like to ask him any questions.
And they are our only candidates,
The
is
only
that
candidates,
correct?
yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
It'd be nice if Fred just get up. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Munoz.
Good evening, board members. My name is Fred Munoz. I am applying for secretary. I've been a board member for 6 years. Unfortunately, the law says I have to sit out a year, but it's been a long year, and I'm definitely anxious to get back to work. Mr. Briggs and I, we've worked together for 3 years. We have a great working relationship. I know the property tax code. I know exactly what is expected from the secretary, and we definitely know how to reach our goal. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
I would just say thank you very much for your willingness to serve. We appreciate it truly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Ready to get back. Thank you.
He was off a year, but he came in quite often to just check it, make sure everybody was doing what they're supposed to be doing. And, of course, the judge reappointed him when he was interviewed with the judge this year.
But we don't need to vote.
Well, we do. This is one of our big jobs of the year. So do we have a motion, please? Thank you. Mr. Mike Rosales has moved to appoint, now I'm blank on the names. Art,
secretary and Michael Briggs is.
Thank you. Mr. Munoz and Mr. Briggs as chairman and secretary of our ARB. And do we have a second?
Second.
Sam Tremble has made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you very much
Thank you
for your
very much.
service, sir. And the next is our taxpayer liaison report.
But we started advertising for ARB members in September. I did receive 22 applications. In October, Judge Maria Salas Mendoza, she's such a busy lady and so sweet and so kind, she wanted to have an interview with each and every applicant. Well, she appointed 14 ARB members for the 2019 Appraisal Review Board. 11 ARB members were reappointed, and one, Mr. Munoz, that had prior experience on the board, and we only got 2 new members this year. So we do have a total of 35 members. So they're all very well experienced. And also inside the blue folder, there is a taxpayer comment. Attached is the details and the outcome of my conversation with the property owner. I sent all the suggestions and comments from the taxpayer to the State Comptroller's Property Tax Division on November 1st. That is required for me to do that. The results for the ARB surveys are scheduled to come out by the end of January 2019, and then I'll give you all a report. And the ARB will be in session January 22nd through the 25th to hear late protests. And do you all have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that would take us to Ms. Kilgore, number 12, our chief appraiser report.
I know, right? I will keep it brief, but I do want to let the board members know what's going on. You've got a folder there with some information in it. It is a legislative year, so whenever we see any type of articles that will either be in our paper, the Times, the Ink, or through the organization, or in Austin or Houston or Dallas or wherever, we will make sure that copies are here at the board meeting so you can see what's going on. You also have an agenda, our TAD legislative agenda in there. I wanted to make sure you had a copy of what we're looking at there. Also in that packet are recognitions of some of our employees. You have from the International Association of Assessing Officers, the magazine that they have recognizing our four employees that received their AAS, Rick Medina, James Thompson, David Stone, and Albert Molina. I wanted you to see how that was. And then you also have the Texas Association of Appraisal Districts, where they were recognized in that publication, along with the entire El Paso CAD for our recertification of our Certificate of Excellence in Appraisal Administration from the International Association. So I was very, very proud about those and wanted to give those to you. So that's in that folder. The education courses are in process. The state and international IAAO courses. We're getting people from today. We had a course today that we had a lady from Carlsbad, New Mexico, and 2 gentlemen from Hidalgo that were here taking courses. And so we've got another class starting next week. So our education courses for our staff are ongoing. As you so well saw, I hope, when you came up, don't use the bathroom on the 3rd floor. It is the last of our 3 floors, renovation, remodeling, and upgrading of our bathrooms. The 1st and 2nd floor are completed. So when you're down on the 1st floor, kind of peek in and see what you think. We had upgrades in the lighting and the plumbing and everything to make it more environmentally sound. So I wanted you all to see that. The property value study and the methods and procedures review from the state comptrollers, we're working on those, and information has been sent to the state that they've requested for those studies that they do to all appraisal districts. We've also had the state reviewers here that we've worked with, giving them information, working with them out in the field. Our own field work is still continuing on. So if somebody calls you and says, I had this person who claimed they were us, it probably was us. But they will always have ID. They'll have their Texas Department of Licensing ID, their identification from the appraisal district, and the vehicle they'll be in will be a marked vehicle. So we do make sure that they're known. And most of them will have a CED shirt on. Most of them will wear those. We are doing something different this year. We're going to, I visited with Mr. Delgado, who is the coordinator for the Appraisal Review Board Department, Mr. Briggs, and we visited with Bear, which is San Antonio, Travis, Austin, Williamson, Fort Worth, and Dallas, and we are sending them to meet with their ARB coordinators and their Appraisal Review Board chairs and secretaries. They'll meet separately, can't meet together, but we're going to send them in February to meet with those different groups. Dallas was very excited in Fort Worth, and we're going to do a 3-district meeting with Dallas and Fort Worth at the same time, and of course El Paso, so that our board chairman and secretary can learn what other districts are doing. These are districts that are similar to us in size. We're all part of the 5 top cities in the state of Texas. We felt like this would be some extra education that we're allowed to do. So we're doing that. I wanted to give you a heads up on that. We have contracted. We just received the signed contract from the City of El Paso. January 29th through 31st, we'll be having the mobile unit here on our parking lot. We offer that to the Consolidated Tax Office, to the city, to allow people to come and pay their taxes here. El Paso, we're known for last minute everything. Last minute concert tickets, last minute paying your taxes, you know. So it's been very, very popular. One of the things they're going to look at next year is maybe adding a 4th day. We told them we have no problem. That's why our ARB will meet like the week before, so we have that week available. But for this year, it'll be 3 days, so I wanted to give you a heads up. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Shields, Chairman Searles. There is an envelope there that she needs to discuss with the board members. And that's mine. Ms. Searles?
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Kilgore? No? Thank you very much. So we've got a packet. In the packet is our big job of the year, our evaluation of our chief appraiser. And I've read through it. It's very self-explanatory, I believe. If you have any questions concerning anything on here, please feel free to call me at home, text me, whatever. I believe that we all have everybody's informational
Yes,
sheet,
and your
correct?
phone number is in your letter
Okay.
to your board members.
And I will get back with you. If there's any additional information that you need to fill this out, I'm sure you can call Ms. Kilgore. She can provide you with any type of backup that you would need for that. So the big thing that I need to ask you all is that you can send these back to me by, I'd like to ask for like the 29th of December. Is that possible? That you could read through this and get it back would that be an okay date? Mr. Velarde? Mr. Taylor? Is that enough time? 29th of December, is that good enough for you? Okay. Vince, yeah? Mr. Rosales?
I'm fine with that.
Mr. Trumbull, okay. So I'd like if you could return these to me by the 29th. And Ms. Kilgore, if you could, please, we've got several that are out. Could you hand deliver this document to the people who
Yes,
are
ma'am.
not here?
We
so
will.
they
We'll
could
do that tomorrow.
they could have it and that they'll know to have it back by the 29th. Don't put it in the mail on the 29th. Put it in the mail on the 28th.
There is, Ms. Earls, we did put your P.O. box
Okay.
on your letter.
Perfect.
So they have the
Okay.
right mailing address.
And I will then go over it, compile it, and keep everybody's stuff separate, but put it into, something that sounds like it's meaningful to all of us. And then at our January meeting, which will be on the 10th, we'll adjourn into executive session, discuss it, and come up with an outcome for Ms. Kilgore. Anything else have I left anything out?
I think just to remind the board members that this is something that you do with your chairman and fellow board members. We are not, the staff is not involved in it at all, other than to get you whatever information you may want. So whatever Ms. Searles will need from us. Or if one of you asks for something, we'll go back through Ms. Searles and everybody
Yes,
will
please.
get it.
Yeah, if anybody asks for anything, please, that everybody. Yes, sir.
Is this available digitally where we can do it digital and then instead of mailing it, you can,
Well, the problem's me.
you're the problem.
Now, Al, you already know that.
You're not the email geezer.
You know that, Al. We've
Right.
had this talk. Problem is me. So, yes, you probably can.
We only have it in a PDF. I mean, we could make something, but again, it has to go to the chairman, so you would have to print it and mail it to her.
Because there are fillable PDFs. Real easily. It works for handwriting, but, okay. I'll do with what we got.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's a handicap, Al. Okay, so no other questions?
So by the 29th, we want
Yes,
this.
sir, please. And if there's anything I can do to help, any, stumbling blocks that you have,
I guess I know you said it, but where are we?
don't email me, just call me.
Where are we sending?
You're sending it to P.O. Box 622, Canutillo, Texas. It should be right.
If you look on the memo that Lori, that's
Oh, look.
from Lori Searles, it's right on there.
Page 3. It's right there.
That's in here.
I'm gonna give you this one.
I think I have it.
Is it?
79835.
Yeah, show 622 to be exact.
And it says December 31st, but I think if I can get these by the 29th, I can read them. Here, Chuck, just take this one. Turn again.
It's 29.
Yes, sir. Everybody good? Okay. Then we'll move on to executive session.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
we don't have anything agendized on executive session. We did keep it on the agenda in case there was
Okay.
anything the board wanted to discuss in executive, but we have nothing.
Okay. Anybody want to discuss anything in executive session? Okay. And that would, number 13 is not going to be applicable, and 14 is the same, and it looks like it's time to go home. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Mr. Velarde.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rosales. Motion made by Mr. Velarde, seconded by Mr. Rosales
Covers it then.
to adjourn. And
Cowboy
the
game over
time is, looks like it's 5:50. Yeah,
I wish the
and the
Cowboys played at
Saints,
all.
right?